create a human design life and business. So you just take it away and tell us about empowered waiting, and I can't wait to hear what you have to tell us.
Okay, thank you for inviting me here today to talk about this amazing topic. I will share my screen in a minute, but I just want to give you some insight to how I came to this unique perspective. And in 2019, I had what I now call not a Kundalini awakening, but a spontaneous projector awakening, because I ended up in that process deconditioning and doing it naturally before coming to human design, and then realizing that I was being prepared to be a guide through human design, through the deconditioning process that I'd gone through. But the interesting thing about it was that it wasn't, I was an English teacher and a deputy head in inner city schools for 7 years, was taking stimulants to work through, to, you know, do my 70-hour weeks and my 80-hour weeks, and ended up burning out, going to Thailand, learning all about energy, and you know, all my chakras opened, my mind opened to the possibilities of a different way of perceiving and living on the planet. Like, so there was a non-physical realm available to us, and it was like, how do I live through awareness, which is what human design is all about, living from a place of intuition and being guided to the most aligned way of being. And so I ended up, whilst in Costa Rica, with just having an insight and saying, give away your government housing, give away all of your possessions, leave nothing, have nothing, and wander the earth. And that's what I did. You know, I was following the signs, synchronicities, my intuition, and I had no cash. So the perspective that I'm going to share with you today is going to be how to be an empowered waiter as a projector, you know, and everything comes to you. Life is magical when you are an aligned and an empowered projector. So just going to share the screen, and I cut this down. I actually, oh, hang on a sec. Let me stop the share. Just share the screen, empowered waiting. Oh, here we go. Present. So I'm going to give you guys 1 minute or so, and you can shout out or write in the chat. I think shouting out's better because I can't see the chat. So just share I'm going to give you 1 minute, and I want you to write down, what does empowered waiting mean to you? And what does it look like when you're waiting in an empowered way?
So do you want us to respond if we can?
Oh yeah, if you could.
Yeah. All right. So for me, empowered waiting means building my knowledge and skill. It looks like me time. Okay. And I've learned that empowered waiting is absolutely necessary and crucial, period.
Yeah. Okay. So it's developing your skill set, developing your mastery, so that people are beginning to invite you to guide. It's the other thing, like learning how to relax. Did anybody else have something?
Yeah, I do. It's still putting myself out there. It's still, you know, like right now, what I'm doing is I'm still like posting on social media, but I'm still like providing content and like just still like, hey, I'm still providing value out there. If you're still welcome to respond and still respond to, you know, give me an invitation if you'd like.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Great. And these were exactly the types of responses that I imagined people would answer. So developing your mastery, developing your knowledge, being visible so that people can invite you, especially in the online world when we're not in the physical space, so are always doing the talking. So showing up and being comfortable with the waiting process, and etc. And so all of these are great things to do. But what I realized, and what the perspective I want to share today, is that empowered waiting is not just what we are doing, the active waiting processes, it's who are we being. Oops, hang on. And I believe that empowered waiting is actually mastery of your co-creative faculty. Because when you have a vision, and this is something that Pat mentioned earlier, oh, I'm cut out. Okay, Pat mentioned at the beginning of the thing around having a business, it's not so much around having goals, but we have to have a vision. And when we have a vision, we can start to co-create and use our head center and use the gates in our head center in a more practical and effective way as an interface between ourselves and the quantum field. So rather than using questions in a low frequency, on the low expression way that we can use questions, such as, why is this happening to me? Why can't I get new clients, or whatever? And we're going to look at questions in a minute. What I'm suggesting is that we actually build trust in our co-creative ability to draw to us the resources that we need and desire by learning to test out this practical way of using our imagination, which is why I'm so happy that somebody mentioned that, because it's our head center, and the way that we use our mind is not to decide. We all know this. It's to actually stimulate emotions, to calibrate our G center so that we align up with the things that we are imagining. And this is what happened to me with this event. I got some downloads, I had some dreams around working with projectors. That was in November 21. By January 22, projectors were coming to me to work with them. A few months later, I saw this post, and I was cool, I was relaxed. I had the vision, I'd set the thing in motion, I'd calibrated and was empowered in my waiting, and I allowed what showed up to show up, and I took the opportunities when they came. So we have the low expression of the archetypes of these gate centers, and we have the high expression, like everything in the chart. And when we can live out the highest expression of the 61, the 62, 63 and the 64, what happens is we begin to access deeper places of wisdom, deeper sense of answers, and our channel to source in the quantum field begins to stay clear. So the head center is a pressure center. It will try and figure things out. If you are if you're working with the mind in a sense of, I need to know the answer, I need to take action, I need to do all of this stuff, it's not getting you into the place of who you need to be in a space of empowered waiting. So gate 64 is around confusion. It's always asking how. 61 is around why, like, why is this happening? And 63 is around the question what, and the pressure to trust. So the central question isn't about, I guess, do I need to be active in my waiting? Do I need to be visible? All of these things are like byproducts. The question is, do I have the courage? Do I have the courage to wait for right timing? Because if you know that you're sending that thing out, you know in the right timing to take action will come, or in the right timing, the event will show up. So do I have the courage to wait for right timing? And do I have the courage to know, or to believe that I'll know what I need to know when I need to know it? Because as soon as you have that, you can wait all your life and things will come to you. Everything that you want will come to you. So let's just test this out. What I've done here is I've just created I can't see because of this thing, but I've created for each gate 64, 61, and 63. We won't spend too long. We'll do about 2 minutes on this. But what I want you to do is, I just want you to label, or maybe number them. I should have done this better, but like in each, let's do it bit by bit. So in this first box, which of the questions, and just write the ones that are the higher order archetypes. Which ones are going to help you to stimulate your imagination and not try and figure out the answer, but look at the possibilities? Which ones are going to help you to access possibilities that will lead you somewhere? How can I achieve this bigger vision of becoming a multimillionaire? If we're in the higher archetypes, is this going to help us to stimulate possibility and connect with a vision of why it could be, or what we want from it? Or is it going to get us in a spin where we are trying to figure out the answer?
Well, I try to get us in a spin.
Sorry?
It will probably try to put us in a spin because we're just trying to figure out a thing rather than the next one, which is about aligning, which is about how you're feeling.
Okay, so that's interesting. So for this one, I guess there's two ways of doing it. So if I were to answer this question from a possibility, from a creative perspective, I would be looking at how I could achieve it. So I could have a client on retainer. I could have a billionaire reach out to me, or I don't know, I would come up with like random ideas, but without being attached to the idea. So not, how can I achieve this bigger vision of becoming a millionaire? Let me do this, let me do that. And I don't know, I guess maybe I'm not explaining this in the best way. Yeah, that's good, because it shows me what to do for next time. The why is this happening to me, for me, feels like a spin out question. There's no answer to that, possibly. You can go around in circles of why and spin out. But if you are looking at why I want to achieve something, you're looking at how does it make me feel? Like when I've achieved this, I'm going to feel expansive. When I've achieved this, I'm going to feel joyful. I'm going to be empowered. I'm going to be whatever. So you start to play with possibilities and then release it, rather than trying to figure out a definitive answer, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Oops. So this is how I determined which ones. So the red ones, I put them down into like possible low frequency creative questions, in the sense that you might go round and round and round trying to figure things out, rather than trying to look at stepping into the sense of possibility around the situation. So my view was that magic happens when we wait, when we can tolerate the pressure and allow ourselves to see what comes up. And again, many of you spoke about this, like people who were already talking about being aligned in their businesses, or like following the breadcrumbs. I think one of the generators said that I do this when I follow the breadcrumbs. This is how it can be. So I took this from Karen Parker Curry because she used this example, but I had already come up with this particular example here, but I had already been developing a practice that I use myself before I came to human design, and I called it mastery. So for me, it was meditate, because when I get into stillness, and when I have an open head and open mind, I have 7 open centers as well. When I learned to meditate and release energy and tune into what was mine, I was able to access information. mastery, ask questions. So I began to already develop this tool as I was wandering the earth and I was being guided to understand how to operate. I was asking questions that was leading me to things that I needed and things that would come, like very quick manifestation, basically, because I was in alignment already with my projector self. I was doing what I was meant to be doing. Set intentions, tell the truth. So for the T, tell the truth. So am I being authentic? Am I being honest? Am I saying yes when I want to say no? So tell the truth. Emotional response, emotional guidance, use this intelligence. Respond, not react. So I guess it's almost like a deconditioning process. And then the final one was yes to. What do I give myself permission to say yes to? Whether it's taking a nap, whether it's following an inspired idea, or taking an intuitive action, rather than, if, like, for example, if I'd followed my mind would have said, you don't have any money, you don't have a house, you don't have any possessions, you can't give away all of your security. But I followed my intuition. And so by doing so, I was able to live more aligned with a projector lifestyle, which gave me opportunities and things magically appear. So the question here is to show you how you can do this process on your own when you want, if you want to experiment with using the gates and the way and the tools of the head to question and allow what shows up to show up before taking an action. So the question, so here, if you have the images, how do we feed the people of the world? And the reason why we start with something like this is because we're stepping into possibilities. The activity isn't about trying to figure out a solution. It's about looking at what the possibilities could be and sending those things so that you can collapse time. So let's just take 1 minute as a group and look at what kind of things what possibilities can we align with? So how do we feed the people of the world? Do we start permaculture? Do we teach children how to grow food in preschool? Like what is it that would need to change for us to actually make this a possibility? Because the problem is we don't have a lack of food in the world. It's the distribution. So if you were creatively creating questions, what's something you would come up with? What would be an answer that you can just throw down and not be attached to? What's a possibility?
Well, are you asking, do you want responses to the
Yes.
this, or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, one is many people can't keep the food that they are growing there. They're exporting it in order to get cash. So they're exporting it to other nations. So one solution would be to, focus on the permaculture growing things that people need in their location, and making all places, and that could be everywhere, that all people are growing food that they're eating locally that work with where they are, instead of needing to send it out for funds, for money.
Yeah. And like in England where I live, we've got tons, like there's so much poverty. Like there are so many people living off food banks because they cannot afford food in this Western culture, right? And so maybe having community lunches, maybe maybe communities coming together, like there's so many ways we could work this out. But the point is to show you that it's easier to do this task when you're doing it outside of yourself. So that was why I've set it up like this. And what the process afterwards is is that you ask a question and you wait, you calibrate. So in the meantime, you are tuning into, you're staying in a sense of possibility, you're staying in gratitude, you're staying in appreciation, you're staying in the energy of connecting with whatever it is that you have to do to stay aligned with it, resting. So resting, studying, knowing your topic really well, whatever those things were. And then something very quickly, for me, it comes really quickly, comes up, something will show up and you can go, is that the invitation for me? Or is that the thing that I should do? So for you, this is something you can take away and do on your own. You could write down, choose an area of your life or business where you want to align with a collapsed reality. For me, it might be, how do I generate soulmate clients? And I might begin with more questions like, why do I want to generate? Because, and as I tune into the why, because I love helping people create new solutions. I love the joy of working with somebody who really is passionate about their work, or, you know, whatever it is, someone who cries when they see themselves for the first time. So you start tuning into the joy of what it is you're wanting to tune up with. And as you do that, and here, like, what are the qualities of my soulmate clients? As I think and as I connect with those qualities and with people I've worked with in the past, I get excited. And it's that collapses the time and that draws to you the aligned opportunity. That's it. So you can have a lot of fun. Sorry, go on.
That's right. So with that, Jess, we've got to like wrap it up because.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
But that was really amazing to really empowered waiting by looking at that head center and just the possibilities of it. It was a really wonderful way to focus that. So thank you so very much.